morning, guys. My name's Steve. I am with TeamSe7en, and today we've got an earthbound drone problem to present to you. So obviously we generally want to, with drones, mitigate collisions, environmental threats, and so on. So we want to mitigate collisions, environmental threats, and so on, obviously. In some of our reading, however, we've also discovered a slightly deeper problem in one of the drone application verticals. There's a humanitarian issue in disaster zones where disaster relief organisations such as the UN, for example, in Ecuador, even right now, for example, will always, in the last couple of years, have begun to receive help from drone operators in the area, freelance sole operators who volunteer their machinery and their efforts. The problem, however, is that there currently is no system to coordinate the volunteer efforts. And the fact that these people are arriving and wanting to be there to help and capture survey information, the numbers of them actually hampers a lot of the logistical efforts of the relief organisation. Our solution is an application we call Drone Zones. Effectively, it's a web application that assigns survey zone coordinates, specific survey zone coordinates to each pilot, with the precursor that they are not overlapping their efforts, they're not in any danger of colliding with each other, and they're bringing back to the organisation unique information from a specific zone. We believe this is a big opportunity to improve the efficiency of response times, simplify communication, and ultimately, hopefully, save more lives, provide faster relief to survivors in the area. Our target users, we see the main client as being the organisation, the UN, for example, on the ground, and obviously below there would be volunteer drone pilots that the UN would disseminate information and assign jobs to. A quick demonstration. I'm going to flick across. We have a prototype where our... It's not on the screen. It's not on. So the prototype, effectively, we have a client side, the UN organisation side, and a pilot end. So it's a two-ended solution. A UN organiser, for example, would come in and log in. An organiser, that's kind of apt. They would initialise a map area, essentially by defining a top left coordinate and a bottom right coordinate to define the area they want to map out. Our application would then, depending on the size of the individual zones they decide upon, our application would divide the area into unique zones. There's some information here regarding no-fly areas and harsh weather conditions, 500 metres away from each other in the UTS campground. And however, the light red areas would, for example, be available to be allocated to a pilot. I would click on an area, make sure that now looks allocated, and by way of example, that pilot might be on their own side of the app. They would sign in, initialise their own app, and then the area that they have been allocated is zoomed in and assigned to them for them to explore. Within that area, there would be a GPS indicator showing where their zone is within the perimeter of the area so that they don't expand beyond that area, they don't get in the way of other pilots, and they are aware that there are no immediate dangers or weather conditions to be aware of in that area. Moving back to, yes, awesome. Disaster relief already. Another view here, so we've shown the iPad, mobile responsive on the iPhone as well. So, for example, the operator would receive something as simple as a text alert asking if they're willing to get involved in this operation. They would opt in. They would then receive a link. They would opt in to authenticate, and then here they've got all the information they need to decipher whether it is a fly zone, obviously the environmental conditions in the area, and more importantly, up the top they have a map to access. They drill into that map, and here again, they're able to use just their iPhone to locate their device and the perimeters of the area that they're working. So what's next for Drone Zone? We have really focused here on the humanitarian aspect. We've not really looked too hard at commercial. We believe there are potential commercial applications. Our main clients at this point are obviously over here. No, they're not.
Just before we go into questions, I've just been informed for time issues as well. We're going to keep it to a maximum of 2 questions. Thank you.
I know you're going to get to this, but who's in your team?
Yes, right. So we have Abir, Loretta, Maria, Andrea, and myself. These guys have effectively done all of the back-end, front-end coding and UX design. And I've fluffed around as more of a project or product manager type character.
Have you done any research? Have you looked into whether there are similar solutions?
Yes, and I was hoping that question would come up. It was hard for me to jam that earlier into the presentation because I was conscious of time. We've done, some of the reading we've done has been on UN sites and other sort of posts I've seen around the place. One of the most effective, valuable resources was this organisation, uaviators.org, is an organisation founded I think only a year or so ago by Patrick Meyer. He's a pilot himself. He's been in a couple of, I think he was in Haiti and Nepal. Based off the back of those experiences, he's founded this organisation that registers pilots who are willing to get on board when need be. I think they have something like 2,000 pilots registered over 60 countries at this point. So there are quite a few people putting their hand up and arriving at these locations, and they have, you know, their process at the moment really is to just offer best practice guidelines to pilots. They don't, as far as I've read, I can't find a solution of this kind that they're using.
So then this is basically something that they could start using right now.
I would hope so. Yeah, we've tried to keep it as simple as possible so that it could be, you know, used at an MVP kind of level immediately. There are things that need ironing out, but I think the concept could be applied in the short term.
Some incredible applications for drones there.